Hello. Welcome back. This will be another pre-market Sunday analysis to prepare us for the week ahead. This will be for the week 26th, 27th of March. And I'm going to analyze the EU pair and show you how I mark up my week and prepare for the week ahead. So let's get into it. And unfortunately, this week I'm not with my main setup, so the camera isn't on. But anyway, let's get into this. Let's start up here on a weekly. So this is how I do it. I don't over analyze the weekly, but I'm going to mark out what's going to be the weekly high. So this will be the previous weekly high on the open, and this will be the previous weekly low. So two major areas of liquidity and confluence. The only things I'd say you could see here is obviously we've reacted off of this weekly ob, pulled back into another weekly ob, you could say. It's not at any extreme or anything, but we've come down into it and price was held here and to an extent rejected. We've closed out like this for this week, and it's a bit undecided on the weekly, but again, I don't dig into it too much. But at the moment, we're making a bullish move. Not confirmed, this high isn't broken at all, but that's where we stand. So for me, it's a weak high at the moment. Plenty of buy side liquidity trend line, but again, it's a weekly. I'm not going to look too much into it. I just want these important levels, and you want to see if there's any weekly liquidity points to make note of. So on to the daily. So on the daily, you can see we've recently rejected from this daily order block, and we are sort of continuing this bullish structure. We came down, it found a structure at this daily order block, which is in the discount of the leg which started the move up that broke the previous high and continued higher, right? So we came down to this, we found some structure, we created structure, and then high, liquidity sweep, high, right? And now we've come back down and we've sort of rejected at this point, which I guess you could call a breaker block. If you want to look further into those, go to ICT. So we have this possible breaker block here and imbalance there that it looks like we've closed out and rejected at this current point, right? However, let's not forget this will be our previous daily high. Another obviously important higher time frame liquidity reference, and the previous daily low. Now, so we have this high and we have this pullback in what looks to be a continuation of the bullish trend, right? So down to the 4 hour now. Getting to the intradays, the business end. Let's read price some more now. So sweep of liquidity here after all of this liquidation of the sell side liquidity, and we now made this big massive new 4 hour leg, right? Rejected a 4 hour order block within this daily order block, yeah? I have this marked out to just show liquidity swept off highs, and we've gone into the 4 hour order block. So also, before I continue, if you are finding this helpful and valuable, then please like, subscribe, because it helps, and I'll be putting out plenty more content all the time as I do, so you'll want to be subscribed for that. So again, 4 hour leg, discount, premium. We've rejected this 4 hour order block and came down impulsively and rejected out at this 4 hour order block. This 4 hour order block which swept some internal liquidity and then broke previous highs and continued to move up. So this is a valid order block just at the equilibrium of the 4 hour. So other things to note here are we rejected on the higher time frame the big fig of 1.09. We've come down and pretty much closed out rejecting big figure 1.05, which you can see here from this line. And we're still not within the discount of this leg, right? So potentially you can see a bigger move down into discount after all of this liquidity here has been taken. So down into the 1 hour. So with the 1 hour, you can see I left a little note here from last week. So we haven't had a 1 hour break of structure since the 15th of March. So it's significant coming from this 4 hour order block and daily order block. Reason why I say this, so if we go back, we've got this 1 hour structure creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, and then on the 15th took all of that sell side liquidity, took that low, right? So we broke numerous 1 hour structure points there. Since then, we've created high highs, high lows, high highs, high lows, high highs, high lows, high highs, high lows, and so on, right? Then here at the order block, we created a high low, high high, high low, lower high, lower low, and then again we created, and you could call this another lower high, and then lower lows, right? Or here as well, broke this low, came back down to that 4 hour and 1 hour order block and structure point at equilibrium of the 4 hour leg and rejected. Yeah, so I hope that's clear for everyone to see why I noted that and why it's significant, right? It's been a couple of weeks since we've done something like that. So a structure shift like that can give us a new direction of high probability trades, right? And can show the way the market's shifting at the time. So let's go down. Actually, before we go down, I'll show you what I've got pointed out on the 1 hour. Of course, we have this fair value gap, which is always in mind anyway. I can put what I like to do. I'll put this here, my fib tool, just to show where 50% is. We know price likes to at least mitigate 50% before making any move. That's if it doesn't come up to the order block. So I'll keep that in mind, and this is just a reminder that that's there, but we can see it, it's plain as day, this massive impulsive drop from here. Can't remember if it was news or not, may have been, I think it was. And so this is the order points I have right now important on the 1 hour. Here also you can see by creating this structure like steps, higher highs, higher lows, we create sell side liquidity points. So there is nothing to say that the market won't target these liquidity points and come down for more sell side liquidity before even making a move up or continuing down, right? We don't know. For me, as you can see, you can probably see I've got this alert here, right? I'll show you on a 15-minute. This is something immediately that I have on mind. I had this marked out on Friday for a move, but as you can see, price went sideways and we're in discount. Oh, let me remove this now. Discount of this 1 hour leg, yeah. Asia created this range, took the high like an internal liquidity sweep, and then eventually broke down, right? And even here, if you look at London took all of these little highs here as internal liquidity and broke down. It broke down, created another structure, order block, and then broke down again, breaking this 15-minute swing point, I guess. And that left there a 15-minute order block. And what we did was, once we came down to this 4 hour POI, we didn't get an impulsive move back. We didn't get an impulsive bullish move to the upside, right, and break a high. We got this corrective structure, right? Now that, as I've shown, has built up sell side liquidity and buy side liquidity, and it's built up this buy side liquidity right below this POI, like inducement would, right? Buy side liquidity to sponsor the move down, to take all of this, right, and to continue down, possibly to take some more significant lows and some more significant sell side liquidity. Right, so I hope that comes across and is clear. So I had this marked out on Friday because I was looking for the move, but because we're so into the discount and this is just at equilibrium, I was thinking, okay, we could get a move here, but what I want to wait for, because of where it is and we have POIs above which will attract price, right, I would rather have seen it take that liquidity and then, you know, close out rejecting this, and then I would have probably have waited for either a 15-minute break of structure, which would have been great, especially if it, you know, came up. Let's get the arrows out. There we go. You know, I was looking for something like this. Let's say it comes up into here, then breaks down, breaking that low, and then we could get another corrective pullback and come into our POI, and then boom, search and destroy for that sell side liquidity, right? Taking all this sell side liquidity after using this buy side liquidity to sponsor the move from the OB and come up, or just, you know, something easy, just there, down, back up to it, down, to take this obvious liquidity pool. I would have probably have waited for, you know, this 15-minute structure to break, or I would have got in, you know, after the 5-minute confirmed it. You know, maybe we got a 5-minute breaker structure that looked just as good. But you know me, I like the 15-minute, especially with the danger of this above and that we're not really into the premium. It's just shallow, it's like barely in the premium, right? So that's something I'm looking out for. I would be waiting for it to confirm, you know, you get in wherever. I wouldn't set a limit personally on the 15-minute right now, and just like something like this, I wouldn't just set this up now and wait for it to do it. I would preferably wait for this move. I'd want it to break the structure and then come back, and then I've kind of confirmed as much as I can and increase the probability that this is going to hold. So if it comes into here, looks like it's rejecting, and then, you know, you go down to the 5-minute and go in on a 5-minute continuation of the move, right? That would be more higher probable than anything else. So I'd be happy to do that. And as I said, you know, there is good sell side liquidity below here for it to target, and for me, I think that's a good healthy target here, especially once you get in on the lower time frame, just to target down to the previous daily low here. You'll get good risk to reward. I ain't got to shoot for the stars. Pretty safe target. It may just take this liquidity and head back up and look for the real move from here, right? You never know. So let's go over to the DXY as well and do the same there. So DXY, let's go to the weekly. This is going to be the previous weekly high, and then again the previous weekly low. And right, so you can see we swept some liquidity here on the weekly, causing this move down. We don't know if we're going to continue this bearish move down, or it's going to find some stability here, rejecting this order block, which it has, and move up and cause EU to go down. Again, this is the weekly. I'm not going to spend too much time here. Onto the daily now. Let's move this up. So yeah, on the daily, what you can see is we took this liquidity up here, broke down, found support, had this daily imbalance / order block, right? We formed this formation with this low test rejection, and let's move this here. This is going to be our previous daily high, sorry, and this out of the way. Previous daily low. Right, so we've got our previous daily low, and we've got a daily imbalance right above here that I've just noted, right? But we've got this lower low formed here, and we're now in the discount coming from premium of the leg. So we'll see what happens around here and with this daily imbalance. But just to note, we've got these previous daily high, previous daily low that we use for important liquidity points. So on the 4 hour, we have our big 4 hour leg now. Big 4 hour leg, premium to discount, where we rejected this order block and broke down quite correctively. As you can see, we've broken down, found support down here, and we've recently come up and we have swept some internal buy side liquidity here, right? We had this big impulsive move, we've left behind a 4 hour order block POI, and that's how it closed out, kind of rejecting this line here. So let's go down to the 1 hour. So on the 1 hour, you see where I've put our line with showing all the buy side liquidity to the upside, the same as EU had that sell side liquidity trend line, right? We have swept buy side liquidity here and trickled back down. Obviously, same with EU actually. Let me go back to EU just to show you. This was during London, right? So this corrective pullback behavior may just be Friday behavior, and it may also just be the fact that after a big move in London, sometimes the candles will move this way because the next session won't move as much. So that's just something to keep note of. It may not be that, you know, we've got a trade going on here, just sometimes that's what happens. So we've got this trickle move after this big London move, yeah? And we've got, you know, the same fair value gaps here with the order block below. So at the moment, the DXY isn't showing much, but it's obviously the inverse of EU. So we've got our high probability points that match up on EU. We've also got the same, I believe they call these hidden bases, the same on EU, where price has taken its buy side liquidity. The only danger is it has taken buy side liquidity, right? So it could come down for the sell side liquidity rather than, you know, stopping at this 15-minute area that I'm about to show, right? It depends on the trend as well. So we've built up this same liquidity here, which could EU. So the end of my recording actually corrupted. So I'm just going to try and pick up here from where we left off. So yes, we've built up the same liquidity as on EU here on DXY, right? We've taken some of this buy side liquidity here and we've built all of this liquidity going on as well. And it's the same thing where, you know, it could be a Friday thing, or it could just be because of the massive move during London, right? Price falls off. So all in all, we need to be patient, right? The market's now opened, but we need to be patient how it reacts here, see what it does. The high probability area is obviously the higher time frame POI, which is a lot more important than a 15-minute. And, you know, same with DXY, we have our 4 hour and 1 hour POI here that we can use to give us more confidence with our trading. So if EU and DXY both enter this area and begin to reject, right, then we have the high probability trade. So this is still on, but of course the market's just opened. It's immediately taken this liquidity, especially due to spread and stuff. And we'll see how it goes. It could cause the move down to go up to this, like I mentioned before. Just stay vigilant. Preferably we'll get this move like this, right? And that would be great, but I can't see it happening unless you trade Asia, which I don't. So I won't be up all night waiting for this move. And I hope you enjoyed this and found this quite valuable. And again, if you did, please subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.